first met Scott, it was actually a very happy accident. I had a gig in a club in Emeryville, I think, which is a little place right in the Bay Area on the east side of the Bay. And I had a keyboard player set up who canceled the day before the gig. And in those days, in the late 80s, or mid to late 80s, early 90s, there were so many gigs that sometimes if you had a last minute cancellation, it was tough to get a sub. And somebody recommended Scott. I called him, he was free, and he came down, was so professional, such a great musician, such a wonderful person to work with, and he became my first call keyboard player.
Cecily and I first met back in the late 1980s. We found ourselves on gigs together. Most of them were Cecily's gigs that she put together, and she hired me. She heard that I was a keyboard player, and so she was the leader on the gig. Very, very talented singer and very professional. So it was a wonderful experience. So easy to work with Cecily. We did these gigs and we would talk, and it's like, oh, we love the same music. So soon after, we decided, hey, maybe we sit down and try and write a song or two.
And then we started talking about trying to write some songs together. We both had very similar tastes in music. We both loved the sort of adult contemporary West Coast, David Foster, Jay Graydon, the stuff they wrote for Al Jarreau, Brenda Russell, sort of sophisticated pop with really nice changes, almost jazz-inflected changes. And we got together and discovered that our songwriting partnership was really, really special. It was very easy. I would come up with some lyrics and maybe a melody, and Scott would sit down. I would sing it for him. He would sit at the keyboard, and it was almost as though he could hear what I was hearing in my mind.
And we'll see what we come up with as far as songwriting. We were both new at songwriting. We didn't know what we were doing, but I sit down at the piano, and she would have some lyrics, maybe a verse, maybe a verse and a chorus, and we'd sit down. Soon after, everything flowed, and before we knew it, we had song after song after song, and the next thing was, okay, we have all these songs, what do? We need to record.
We decided to build a little studio, and we did that at Scott's apartment, Scott's condo, with his wife Linda. And he was also a great engineer, to my delight, because that is not something that I excel in. So we began to record our songs. We had a lot of encouragement from a lot of friends. We had a lot of professional musicians come in and play on our demos. We had help from Will Kennedy, who was very encouraging, actually produced a couple of tracks for us early on and encouraged us to keep writing and keep working on the music, which we did.
We would record on little 4-track cassettes and just try and get our ideas down. And then later, we decided to invest in, okay, we've got so much material, we'll buy an 8-track reel-to-reel and a nice microphone. That's all we had. So the demos that came out of those sessions is what we're now looking to put on this CD and finally give them a life after all these years.
Won't you let